Do you remember Christian Horner's leaked photos?
Honestly, it's so cringe. I can't even think about it.
What about
George and Carmen, two Aquarius, two air signs, because they're an air sign that they'd be a good match, but they're actually not.
Max is very transparent, will say whatever in his mind, versus George is very PR.
Again, we don't know their moon sign, and the sun sign is your personality, but your moon sign is your emotional self, and that's very emotional, what happened.
Toto calls him a yappy terrier, and Christian was like, I'd rather be a yappy terrier than a big bad wolf.
Oh my god. It's really funny because all of these are all men, right? Again, no females in the sport. People always say that guys are not emotional. Very emotional.
So you work your whole life to get into F1. Max takes your seat. Max starts dating your girlfriend. Max becomes the stepdad to your child. Max is a 4-time world champion, and now Max is going to be having another kid with your ex-girlfriend?
Honestly, I feel for Daniel.
Welcome to the Sweet Take. I am so excited for this week's episode. We are going to have a founders conversation. My name is Natasha, co-founder of Milkshake, and I'm here with my beautiful sister, Vanessa, other co-founder of Milkshake.
So excited to be here.
Me too.
So, Natasha, this is our first podcast. What can we tell our audience about what Milkshake is all about?
So, Milkshake is F1 for the girls. We have been motorsport fans for a really long time. We grew up on the racetrack as kids, been F1 fans, but then it really wasn't until Netflix that I think our understanding really kind of clicked. And since then, I've always found there's a shortage of content for, stuff that I was looking for. I always was looking for more things about the drivers, them as people, the team principals, other people in F1. And I just thought there wasn't enough stuff that was more personal, emotionally connected. So that's why we started Milkshake. We want to tell stories about the broader F1 community, obviously talk about fashion and gossip and everything that's going on with who they are, but really dig into the more emotional side. What are you excited about?
I love that. Having more of a female voice in F1 and really elevating the female voice of what the girls are interested in. It's 2025 now. There still is not a female driver. And I think having more engagement from all the fans that are women and the stories that the women want to hear.
So, Vanessa, one thing that everyone always wants to know more about are obviously the drivers and their girlfriends, but we need to bring in that element of what are the stars telling us. So, from an astrology standpoint, let's talk about F1's favorite couple, Charles and Alex. What do you think?
Favorite couple. So, Astrology 101. All the girls love astrology. Reading a book right now by Alice Bell, Trust Your Timing. She was the resident astrologer for British Vogue. This is a really good book. Alice, if you see this, please tell me my timing. I'm still trying to understand. But Charles and Alex, so first thing to know is their sun sign, right? So obviously I'm not an astrologist, but I'm learning. And based on the sun signs of their birthdays, we know that Charles is a Libra and Alex is a Gemini. So astrologically, they are a great match. Obviously Alex has the best fashion taste. She has the best clothes. And as a Gemini, you're very creative and you have, you're really aesthetic, and that really goes well with Libra too, because Libra is also a social butterfly, loves to travel, and that's the same with Alex. So I think they're going to make it.
What I love about the two of them, when you mentioned how both these signs are very creative souls, and they're both really creative in cool ways. Mm-hmm. So Alex obviously is an oil painter. Charles is actually an amazing pianist and composer, and he has created a few scores, and they're on Spotify, and everyone's always asking when's the next album coming out, and yeah, they're really cute together.
It's very cool that he is also a piano player.
I feel like Alex's style is so Gemini.
She is so Gemini. She's so sparkly, and everything that she wears is so her. She's so uniquely herself. They both stand out so much as a couple.
They do.
Yeah.
They're definitely a cute couple together.
They're a cute couple.
Hey, what about
George and Carmen? So birthdays. sun sign.
I think they're like born 2 days apart in February.
Yeah, they're born 2 days apart. Aquarius. I think it's a big year right now for Aquarius with all that's going on astrologically. And you would think that, two Aquarius, two air signs, because they're an air sign, that they'd be a good match, but they're actually not. They're a moderate match. And, what people say about two Aquariuses being together is that, Aquarius, Oprah's an Aquarius, love her. She think outside the box. They really want to change the world and challenge the status quo and take risks. And sometimes I think with two Aquariuses are together, they might feel that they're both unconventional, that they emotionally could butt head. And if they don't have that like vulnerable side of being able to actually open up to each other, then communication-wise, they might fall flat.
Interesting. Well, I totally relate on the change the world aspect.
Yeah.
I do think they're really, they seem really good together. So hopefully they will kind of like, buck that trend and Aquariuses will kind of work out. But
Yeah.
she like has a really crazy story. So like her family went bankrupt when she was a kid, and she got vowed that she wanted to understand like how money works and ensure that all girls from whatever age learn financial literacy so that they could make better decisions for themselves as they navigate life. And she actually just released a book talking about her journey and things that she's learned along the way. She has dedicated her learning towards finance and go to school for it and working in finance today. A lot of people don't talk about that. It's, you don't really learn about how to manage your money in school in a practical way. So I feel like she is changing the world and making an impact and helping girls learn how to think differently.
Yeah. I follow Carmen on Instagram, obviously, and she is such a boss woman. I love how she's so engaged in the F1 scene, but also just really pursuing her career.
Yeah.
And even how she dresses and shows up to work and spreads that message of being able to, as a woman, be financially empowered, to be independent is so important. Love her.
So are you going to work out? We'll see.
We'll see. It says, astrologically moderate match, but we don't know everything about them, right? We only know their sun sign. We don't know what time they were born. We don't know where they were born. We don't know their moon sign or their rising sign. So those are really important to consider if they want to tell us that. We'll try to figure it out.
So complicated.
Yeah.
So one topic that our audience has been asking me questions about is the crazy love triangle with Max, Kelly, and Kelly's previous boyfriend, Daniel Kibia. So I think it'd be very interesting to look up the signs and talk about that for a second. So for those that don't know, Max and Kelly are expecting their first baby. Very cute and very exciting.
Yeah.
But let's not look back. We're very excited for Max and Kelly, but let's just back up a little bit about their relationship. So there was another driver named Daniel Kibia. He was in F1 a couple of years ago, and then he actually got replaced by Max when Max started on Red Bull.
Right.
And Daniel and Kelly were dating at the time, and they have a baby together named Penelope, this really cute kid. So what's crazy about it is, and we should talk about this because I wonder how Daniel feels. So you work your whole life to get into F1. You dedicate your life, you don't go to school, you're traveling the world, there's a lot of sacrifice. You work your whole life to get into F1. And then Max takes your seat. Max starts dating your girlfriend. Max becomes the stepdad to your child. Max is a 4-time world champion, and now Max is going to be having another kid with your ex-girlfriend,
And stepdad, potentially.
already stepdad.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Honestly, I feel for Daniel. He must feel that he, like you said, has worked so hard, but kind of just being completely overshadowed personally and professionally. Hopefully he doesn't feel like that. But astrologically, if you were to, look at what the planets say, he's a Taurus and Kelly is a Sagittarius, and they were really, from a sun sign perspective, never supposed to work out because a Taurus is, very determined, very hardworking, actually really loves stability and the home, and Sagittarius is the opposite. They're the world traveler, of the signs, you know, really pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone. And sometimes a Taurus who, you know, likes that stability will think that the Sagittarius is too out there, you know. And Max is a Libra. Libra, social butterfly, you know, actually loves the spotlight and shines, you know, and a Libra and Sagittarius get along great. So I think that Daniel in his personal life hopefully will find someone. Actually, Daniel, I'm a Taurus, so I don't know if he's single, but so I think that, you know, Libra being like they have so much charm and like this like social, they're so social and have this like aura around them that I think Sagittarius really like is attracted to. So
Yeah, well,
things just are meant to be.
I mean, Kelly can't be dating a better person than they're living life. They're traveling the world. They're going to have amazing experiences. It's funny how you said what's Max's sign again?
Libra.
Libra's like the spotlight. It's funny because he is always in the spotlight and he's always very like, ugh, another interview.
Right.
You know, but deep down, he like wants to be number one and you know, so.
Well, you know what's interesting also about Libra, because if you look at their sign, it's it's all about balance. And like when you always want balance, they actually really shy away from conflict and confrontation. So that's probably why, like, for example, Max, you know, he chooses to like stay away from a lot of the conflict, you know.
Even though he's always in it.
Even though he's always in it.
Well, that's actually a really great transition into talking about some of the biggest beef from 2024. I've been having a lot of conversations about this with a bunch of girlfriends because it's just crazy. But do you remember Christian Horner's leaked photos?
Honestly, it's so cringe. I like can't even think about it. I can't think about it.
So for those that don't know, and if you've been living under a rock, look it up. But Christian Horner had this, like, essentially what happened was all these leaked photos and messages that he was sending a female employee at Red Bull. Just think like being at the bar and you're single, someone's coming up to you with the worst pickup lines, like just like beyond dad jokes, like just so bad. And then he starts sending her photos of his nipples. Like, who does that? And then on top of this, she gets fired. You know, through the investigation.
Yeah.
And a lot crazy that she gets fired.
I know, and he was the one that sent it.
Allegedly. Allegedly. He got cleared of all that. Yeah, allegedly. But it caused obviously a lot of drama on the team and instability. So like Max's dad, Jasper Stappen, was calling for Christian to step down. Then like Helmut Marko, who's a Red Bull advisor, was also involved, and they were all trying to there was a big power struggle going on with Christian. But, you know, Red Bull ended up being the biggest losers in this situation because they have Adrian Newey, and Adrian Newey is the greatest car designer of all time. He actually wrote a book called How to Build a Car. It's really cool. And he is essentially the reason why Red Bull has been so dominant the last couple of years, because he designed a car that no one else could essentially catch up to. And Adrian was like, I'm just sick of all this bullshit, you know? I'm going to leave. Like, this is ridiculous. And so he goes to Aston Martin during all of this. And then after Adrian left, Red Bull started going downhill. Max stopped winning races. You know, he's obviously still an amazing 4-time world champion, so he's going to get the most of the car and like figure out a way and still wins the Drivers' Championship. But it's a lot harder. And so, yeah, Christian.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know their birthdays and their birth charts, but you could also astrologically try to, you know, map out like when all this stuff kind of happened.
Yeah.
And like, you know, one thing like leads to another, and that's just how the cards fell.
Yeah. Like, yeah, crazy. Well, Max is involved, even though he, you know, doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He always seems to be in the spotlight. So another example of beef that happened this year, this is kind of like funny. I am interested to get your perspective on how they reacted. So there was this whole thing, like during qualifying, when obviously your people are on a fast lap and some people on preparation laps. And there's an etiquette on track where if someone's on a qualifying fast lap, you obviously have to get out of the way so you don't like impede them and ruin their time and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So long story short, George and Max were both not on fast laps. George was apparently doing some type of prep lap or something, and Max gets out of the way, but apparently not fast enough, and George makes a big stink about it. Max ends up getting a penalty, and they go talk to the stewards behind closed doors, And Max then goes publicly after, is like, essentially like, what the fuck? Like, George seems so put together and so diplomatic in front of the cameras. But then when you go and actually talk about it, he was like, attacking me was his position. Right. This is George attacking Max about this like issue and like getting this penalty. I'm wondering, is that just like traits of their signs? Like Max is very transparent, will say whatever he wants to say, like what's on his mind, versus George is very PR, I don't.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, again, we don't know their moon sign, and like the sun sign is like your personality, right? Like more like your main personality, but your moon sign is your emotional self. And that's very emotional, what happened.
Yeah.
Because it's like he cut me off, or like, you get like, it's like fiery.
Yeah.
So like I really do wonder what Max's moon sign is, because he's probably for sure not a Libra moon sign, because a Libra moon sign, which is actually me, like emotionally they would shy away from conflict. They would like want to keep the peace. He didn't want to keep the peace.
No, he never keeps.
He didn't keep the peace.
He's also Dutch. Yeah, direct.
I feel, and I don't know, but like he's probably like a fire, emotional, like moon sign.
Yeah, very like. We'll have to follow it up with second episode on moon signs. So another thing that's funny that happens, so normally what I learned during, so typically when there's a conflict on track, what happens is drivers go see the FIA, which is kind of like the stewarding rule body of the run, and their team principals also go with them. So Max and Christian and Toto and George, they come together, they talk about what happened, and then the stewards make a decision like what penalty, if any, is like kind of awarded. And apparently normally drivers are very factual about what happened because they're on track, they don't want to really have conflict, and then typically the team principals kind of go after it, and they're the ones really posturing and making their case, and so that's typically how it works. But I saw Max was so upset because apparently this time around George was very theatrical about it, and like Toto wasn't doing all the talking, George was doing the talking. Max was like, what the fuck, I thought we were just describing what happened from our point of view, and we let them decide, so we take the emotion out of it from a driver's standpoint. So then after the fact, Toto started calling Christian a yappy terrier of how he responds, and Christian is like, and it's actually really funny because he has had 3 terriers himself, like he loves terriers. So Toto calls him a yappy terrier, and Christian was like, well, I'd rather be a yappy terrier than a big bad wolf.
Oh my god. It's really funny because all of these are all men, right? Again, no females in the sport. And it's like people always say that guys are not emotional. Very emotional. Very emotional.
What other beef happened 24? I thought there was some funny stuff that happened at the end of the season.
You're like, yappy terrier, I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah, go with that. So some other funny stuff that happened in the season was Liam Lawson steps into RB. He replaces Daniel Ricciardo, unfortunately. And he's obviously trying to make his mark because he wants to get a seat in F1. And there was all this, all this drama happening with him and Checo. He ends up taking Checo's seat, but apparently Liam was giving him the finger on the track, giving him a honey wig. And just they're so hot-headed on the track. Right. Afterwards in the interviews, Checo's gotta respect your elders. I'm so much more experienced. But it'll be cool because next is going to be 4 rookies on the grid. Just the most ever. So I wonder we're going to see more beef like that on track.
Well, age is just a number. Yeah. Go off that.
I know. It's funny because Checo is 34. It's not like he's a little. I know your favorite driver is Lewis.
Yes.
And Lewis, he's kind of an enigma. He's never really had a long-term girlfriend, and he's been linked with so many different girls. I think his longest girl that he's been known to be together with is Nicole Scherzinger.
I love her.
But yeah, so many girls he's been seen around with Nicki Minaj and Rihanna and Juliana Nalu.
Yeah.
Sophia Richie. I'm wondering, why is it that he hasn't had a girlfriend?
Well, I think so. Capricorns are supposed to be like first line in this book. Capricorn is they're extremely ambitious and aspire to be respected and admired in their particular field. Capricorns are very career oriented. They will work to be the best of the best in their field. And Lewis is was so focused, on that. Maybe there wasn't enough time personally that was invested, or he just never found the right fit. They also are the ones that like don't take commitment lightly. So like relationships, like it sounds like it has to be like the one, otherwise they won't commit.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is focused. Like you can't be like a 7-time world champion without being focused. And he's so focused, he has a master class on it. Remember that master class episode that I watched?
It, Blues, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good.
And I can see that, like, he's obviously very focused on his career. Yes. He wants to be the greatest of all time. And in order to become that, he needs to win his 8 Drivers' Championship. So, like, all his energy and focus is to that.
Right.
And then I didn't know that Capricorns were, like, very committed in their decisions. And that's shown through, how long he's been with Mercedes. And he's over 10 years.
Yeah, because relationships are beyond, there are all sorts of relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And now he's won a Ferrari. He's starting a new relationship. Yeah. How would a Capricorn and Lewis, you think, are into a new relationship?
Well, what's interesting about Lewis, I feel like everything that, like, the word career is so broad stroked, right? Because he's also, like, delved into, I feel like he's put a lot of thought into his legacy, right, outside of the track, into, like, all his fashion and creativity endeavors. And, he's, like, really thinking career beyond F1 too. And it's just so interesting because he's so talented and he is so ambitious in like every like arena that he plays in. And so I feel like Ferrari will be this like new take for him to see like how far he can go with Ferrari.
Yeah, you're so right about all the other stuff that he's involved in. I think we speak for a lot of girls. We would love to see Lewis with somebody and like kind of round out that part of his life.
Yeah, we would love to. But yeah, they don't take commitment lightly, and they're only going to commit if they see long-term potential.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, I feel like when he does commit,
be the one.
Yes.
So at Milkshake, one of our favorite topics is obviously the fashion. And it's going to be very exciting next year because LVMH just signed a 10-year deal with F1, replacing Rolex as a major sponsor. And obviously, we love a lot of LVMH brands. I wonder what's going to happen when it comes to the Paddock and fashion and teams. Are teams going to be now sponsored? Like, will we see like Louis Vuitton designed Ferrari race seats?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
But let's talk about our favorite, most fashionable people in the Paddock. Who's your favorite?
I mean, for me, it's all about the girlfriends. It's Alex. But from a guy perspective, it would be Lewis, and it was Daniel. Yeah, I thought he had amazing.
Well, what's the style? What did you like about both?
I mean, he just like, he's also just like has a very relaxed feel, like his casual wear.
I'm talking about Daniel.
Daniel.
I mean, he's so like, Aussie, but
he's so Australian about his style and his brand enchante. On the
side note, we love Daniel. Daniel's from Perth, Australia. We lived in Perth, Australia. Hopefully we could meet him there.
Yes, and we are also the biggest fans of Enchante. So, yeah, I just feel like his vibe, his style, it's just whether it's like the mountains or it's like hot like in Australia, it just blows.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
He did some cool collabs with Rude. I love Rude. Yes. It's a clothing brand. Yeah. And I think either he did or McLaren and Rude did, but they had a really cool collab come out.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. And then, of course, Lewis.
Of course, Lewis. You can't talk about fashion and not talk about Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Lewis was a trendsetter. He started it all, and then everyone kind of followed.
I found like Lewis's style, if you look at him over the years, and I guess this is just how fashion evolved too. Like, fashion right now is like leaning more on like the baggy, oversized look, and Lewis reps that so well and so many different styles. Like he does a lot of. I love the outfits where he has like you can see his like tats underneath, but he wears a lot of Rick Owens, and his style has gotten a lot more oversized. I think it used to be more kind of clean cut in a way, but I think that's just how like fashion's evolved.
Yeah. I mean, I just love how Lewis just like wears like what is authentically himself, like he just like represents his style, his own authenticity so well. And that's what I like about Lewis.
Yeah. I don't think actually all the drivers are allowed to wear their own rails because they have like agreements with teams and they have to wear all their team like gear and stuff when they walk in the paddock, but maybe a few races they're all allowed to wear what they want. I think someone who has amazing style that's kind of like hidden is Charles. Charles has the best jean game. Like next time you see Charles walk in the paddock, he's always wearing like the baggiest, widest. Like he's got amazing jeans, and he wears like really cool shoes too. But
Incredible.
he always has to wear like the furry shirts, so he really only gets to like play around with like what pants he's wearing essentially. But he's got great style.
So he is like under the radar.
Exactly. And then for the girlfriends, they all have unique styles.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alex is very feminine. I think she's like my spirit. Like,
Yeah. She has amazing taste. She's just like the sparkles and the colors and how she wears it is amazing.
yeah. But it's always Kika, Pierre's girlfriend. I think Kika's style is very, like, I think she has different things that she likes versus I find that Alex is, she has like a lane that she really loves. I'm like
Right.
really expanding that lane. But Kika wears like different things all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like personally Kika would probably wear more comfy clothes than like being dressed up. She seems like actually quite laid back.
Yeah. What about when like Lewis and was it George did the like outfit swaps? Do you remember those?
Lewis and George. Oh yeah, yes.
When they like wore each other's styles? That was incredible. We need more of that.
Well, also Lewis and his race engineer Bono. Bono came up in one of Lewis's outfits, and it's hilarious because he's not fashionable. But it's like, I'll show it to you. But back to the girlfriends. What about the other girlfriends? Do you love their style?
I like Carmen's style. I love how she like posts all of her like work outfits and like she just seems like such a boss.
Yeah. I like Kelly.
Kelly, yeah.
Kelly's always so put together. She does an amazing. She's very good at pairing structured with like flowy. So there are masculine and like feminine lines. Like she loves a good blazer, but then she'll pair it with something like soft and flowy and like satiny and like she does that really well.
Like plays with the texture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone whose style is like I'm kind of hit or miss on is Alex's girlfriend Lily. Like
Really?
sometimes I really like how she's wearing stuff, and other times it's just so out there. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's very eclectic and interesting, but I just
Well, maybe it's because like she normally just wears like her golf outfits.
No, I think she likes that. I mean, it's like the things that she pairs together is just kind of like, I'm not sure about that, but you do you.
Yeah. I love her. She's so cute.
And then, of course, there's Carlos and his girlfriend, Rebecca.
Yes.
I know you were looking up their signs, too, earlier, and you were like, you're not sure whether they're going to work out, but...
Carlos and Rebecca. Carlos is a Virgo. Oh, and Rebecca is a Leo. Yep. Yeah, they're astrologically not supposed to work out. Virgos are all about, perfectionism, and Leo is actually a lion. They always want to be in the spotlight, and I feel like they could just like butt heads.
It's funny, though, because she doesn't seem like she wants to be... the center of attention, like when you like see her, but at the same time she's a model, so she's center of attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, her style is also very unique. Like I sometimes she wore this like leather poncho once, and I was like, I had never seen anyone make a poncho look cool. And that was like not even functional because ponchos are supposed to prevent you from getting wet, and you can't let leather get wet. But she looked great.
That's incredible. Yeah, definitely. You need that. I mean, it does rain.
I know, but you're not going to wear a leather poncho, but it's reality.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap for the Sweet Take. This is our first podcast together. I hope you guys liked it, and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube to watch future episodes. We covered drivers, astrology, the girlfriends, and biggest beast from 2024, and we'll be doing more topics like this in the future.
If you want to hear more about moon signs, astrology, numerology, color astrology, and we're going to unpack it all.